we're looking live at the Sinan Erdem Dome here in Istanbul, Turkey. 8th final between Russia and New Zealand. The winner, oh, what a game they're going to face against Team USA in the quarterfinal. But first things first, the world's media has descended upon Turkey for this FIBA World Championship. The Kiwis, the Tall Blacks, having made it all the way to the semifinals back in 2002. Could they be on their way to replicating something like that, something special? But the Russians also, the European champions in 2007, well, they've got other ideas. That was the first game today. USA winning 121-66 over Angola. Now it's the battle of Europe against a team from Oceania. And Roy, I don't think you want to take either of these teams lightly, as France have discovered, as well as Greece, because Russia beat Greece and New Zealand upset France.
Anybody who takes New Zealand lightly is a fool, I can tell you. Their record in the 21st century is phenomenal. Just ask Australia. One thing that does worry me, though, is that man there on your screen, Pero Cameron, 35 years of age now. I've been watching him in the warm-up, and he is sweating profusely. He is not in good shape. He didn't want to play this year. He coached in New Zealand. He went there as a player coach, and in the friendly games that New Zealand have had so far, I've seen him pick up a few early fouls because of his lack of condition. He's a key player for them. If he can stay free of fouls, then they have a chance. And for Russia, well, I've been very, very impressed with the big kid out there, Timothy Mozgov. He's off to the Knicks, and he has improved dramatically in the last 18 months or so. If Russia pound the ball into him, 7'1", New Zealand have real problems.
Well, Lindsay Tate trying to play himself into a contract. This New Zealand team has been led by Kurt Penny there in your screen, another member of that 2002 FIBA World Championship side, the second leading scorer in this competition. And Phil Jones has come out of retirement to come back and play for New Zealand. And there is the young Abercrombie, who hit that three-pointer late in the game against France. And of course, you mentioned Pero Cameron, who did play well against France in that final game. So Casey Franks, the naturalized New Zealander, has been a good addition to this national team this year. And Craig Bradshaw, very athletic. It is a New Zealand team that plays a flex offense. It's difficult to compete against sometimes, and a lot of guys can hit the three-point shot. But the real name that stands out in that squad is Kirk Penny, 29 years old, and gets better with age. Coached by Nenad Vucinic.
Second top scorer in this tournament so far, Kirk Penny. Second only to the great Luis Scola of Argentina.
Now, if Russia have shown up here with Coach David Blatt, they haven't been a team in crisis, but Russia has shown up without some of the big names that have led them to some of their finest moments, like J.R. Holden, who pretty much has had it now with the national team, as well as Andrei Kirilenko, who had a season plagued by injuries in the NBA. And David Blatt also hasn't had the services of Victor Kriapa because of injury, the superstar from CSKA Moscow. However, they've continued to win, and do not underestimate this Russian team, especially with a coach who goes by the name of David Blatt.
Yeah, David Blatt wants to go out on a high. He's had problems with the Russian Federation, and he's expressed them most vociferously as well. He's off to Maccabi Tel Aviv, back into the game at club level, and he wants to go out on a high with Russia.
There is a small chance he'll continue with Russia, he's announced since his press conference, but we're going to have the national anthems now, New Zealand and Russia. The Tall Blacks, New Zealand's Team of the Year back in 2002 when they reached the last four. Now for Russia's. Stirring national anthem. Vucinic now and New Zealand come to exchange pleasantries before the game. Coach Blatt and Russia. Triapa is here. He's in uniform. The question is, will he play?
Well, for our viewers in New Zealand, I have absolutely no doubt that this team of Kiwis will be trying to do well for their nation. With the news of the tragic earthquake in Christchurch, I know that the New Zealand women won the Rugby World Cup yesterday, so this team here in Turkey will be trying to give a little bit of sustenance to a hard-hitting Kiwi nation at the moment.
For the referees from tonight's game, David Chambon from France, Benito Fourniers, Marcos Fourniers Benito rather from Brazil, and Sasha Pugel from Slovakia. Russia began this tournament with a win over Puerto Rico and then lost to the host nation Turkey 65-56. They rebounded with a 6-point win over Ivory Coast and also beat China 89-80. Those were close games. And then upset upset Greece. Not something that many people figured could happen since they've had so many problems with absentees, but Russia did overcome Greece and then surprisingly ended up in an 8 final against New Zealand. There's a starting five for New Zealand: Mika Vakona, Pero Cameron, Thomas Abercrombie, the 6'6", 23-year-old youngster, Lindsay Tate, and Kirk Penny.
No Phil Jones there, second leading scorer in the Athens Olympics 6 years ago.
And the haka that everybody remembers, and the Russians are not watching. And applause from the Russians for the haka. And the type of thing that really does kind of make the hair on the back of your neck stand up. Nenad Vucinic, I think he can do the haka as well, but he wasn't doing it. All the sports teams from New Zealand, I think, do it. Maybe not the cricket. But Russia, their starting five: Andrei Borisevich, Sasha Kohn there from CSKA Moscow, Sergei Monya, Sergei Baikov, and Vitaly Fridzin in that starting lineup for David Blatt.
Well, David Blatt wheeling the changes there. No Timothy Mozgov, which really does surprise me. He's had a great tournament so far.
Well, I guess it doesn't matter who starts, but who finishes in some cases. And maybe he's waiting to bring Mozgov off the bench. But again, New Zealand do not play a conventional style of basketball. They really do have a different style that takes time to get used to. And maybe the big center he feels like isn't best to be on the court. New Zealand began with a 92-79 defeat to Lithuania, so they had an inauspicious start and then fell hard 101-84 to Spain. But they rebounded with a 108-76 victory over Lebanon, the team coached by Tab Baldwin, the former New Zealand coach, and then beat Canada and France. You are looking live inside the Istanbul Sinan Erdem Dome here, the FIBA World Championship 8 final between New Zealand and Russia. Players being introduced. New Zealand reaching the 2002 semifinal. Russia 4 years before that. Stunning the United States with a late comeback in Athens to make it to the final before falling to the former Yugoslavia. That was a FIBA World Championship that was somewhat disrupted by the NBA lockout, so that was not the best American team, but nevertheless a proud moment for Russia. Then, of course, in 2006, Russia didn't make it to the FIBA World Championship, but this New Zealand team did, but suffered their exit at the hands of a very good Argentina team. Sergei Monya, just 27 years old now, one of the established players, and without question, David Blatt has had some problems. He announced in a press conference he was calling it quits, but then later said that he was leaving a small chance that maybe he'll come back. His performance coaching in this tournament suggests that Russia could do much worse than having him there. Kirk Penny, he always loves putting on the Tallbacks jersey.
Well, speaking about Russia, any team that can restrict Turkey to 66 points, that sends out a message that Coach Blatt is defensive-minded. Nobody scores a lot of points against Russia.
Well, we're inside the C9 Erdem Dome. It's the 8th final between Russia and New Zealand. And young Thomas Abercrombie, he can really get up. But Sasha Khan wins the tip. However, it goes over to Vicona of New Zealand.
Interesting to see who gets the tap at the start of the second quarter then, because Russia won that tap but then lost it instantaneously.
Abercrombie, quite an athlete. Quite a story as well. Vicona goes inside, and Vorcevic gets his hand up, goes out of bounds. Lindsay Tate with 5 seconds on the shot clock. New Zealand gonna have to get it up pretty quickly here. See if Kirk Penny can work himself free. He does, and he gets off the three. And Thomas Abercrombie already soars in for the tip. What a message he sends.
A good 30 centimeters above the rim then. Great rebound from the young kid.
Boy, Thomas Abercrombie went to Washington State, just lasted 1 year, wasn't getting playing time, disillusioned, came home to New Zealand, and boy, did he resurrect his career. Fridson out on the perimeter, and it goes to Khan. He works against Vicona. Turnover. Kirk Penny now. New Zealand over to Pero Cameron. Off the rim, and good job, the rebound. Vorcevic with the board, and we're going to reset the shot clock. Look at him get up, 6 feet 6 inches high, and he was a good 2 feet over the rim. And Pero Cameron strangles it. The New Zealand defense cutting off that penetration from Sergei Bykov, and he picks up the charge. Boy, New Zealand, they live for this. The Oceania champions, maybe not getting the respect they deserved. Australia, the higher seed during the draw, and New Zealand falling into Group D. But they've played better than Australia. And Lindsay Tate from outside.
Vicona the foul.
Russians do seem to have a size advantage on that front line. Fritzen at the line, and he gets the Russians on the board. Cameron over to Kirk Penny, top of the key, off the front of the rim. And New Zealand hustle, ball goes out of bounds to Russia.
Penny annoyed with himself, missed two relatively open jumpers for him.
Of course, he had that crucial 4-point play with like 20 seconds remaining against France. And then it was Abercrombie, after France made 2 free throws, that hit a 3-pointer. Gave them the 12-point margin of victory they needed to climb into 3rd place and avoid Turkey in the 8th final. Air ball from Sergei Monya, and into the hands of Kirk Penny, and fouled by Vorosevich. Vorosevich getting buried earlier this year, as well as Sasha Kohn.
Kirk Penny to inbound. The thing about great shooters is if they miss a couple and they should keep shooting. Kirk Penny is one of the best shooters in this tournament.
Yep, one of the best shooters in the world. Pedro Cameron. Bounce pass into Vacona, who goes into that Russian defense and scores.
That's the value of Pedro Cameron. Great pass inside. Almost an off guard.
Some full court pressure here, and they get the violation. Excellent play. Excellent play by the young Lindsay Tate. And it's hard to believe he doesn't have a contract. He's played very well for the Kiwis here at the FIBA World Championship.
That has to be a first in this tournament, Jeff. An 8-second violation. I've seen some pretty close things, but that's the first one I've seen here in Turkey.
I don't think it's going to happen again for Russia. They'll be ready next time. And Abercrombie pops out. Foul before the shot. This one on Sasha Kohn, former NBA champion with Kansas. Plays with CSKA Moscow. And Anton Ponkrashov is going to come into the game for Russia. Played some good minutes in their Eurobasket gold medal winning team.
And Vitaly Fritzen coming out of the game. That's one good 3-point shooter gone for Russia, temporarily anyway. Cameron
for 3, count it! And that's why he's in the game, Roy. He's got experience. But you do have to wonder how Vucinic is going to use Cameron, since he didn't play much this year. Long one from Sergei Baikov. Here comes Lindsay Tate with a chance to run. Might want to pull it out, and he gets swatted from Sergei Monya. 1-on-3, decided to take it all the way.
I suspect he may have been looking for the foul. Clean block, though.
Great start for the Kiwis. Penny, guarded by Ponkrashov. Pedro Cameron, back to Penny, drives into the lane, he scores over Sasha Kohn and the Tall Blacks.
Great understanding there between Cameron and Kirk Penny. The subtlest of little handoffs, and Penny penetrates and puts New Zealand into a 7-point lead.
And maybe that's going to get Penny going as well from long range. And if that happens, you got to watch out Russia. Ponkrashov going up against the young Abercrombie. What a pass from Ponkrashov. And an unsportsmanlike foul. No.
Hard foul.
Hard foul, but 2 shots coming up for Sasha Kohn, not the unsportsmanlike foul. Look at that pass from Ponkrashov.
Yeah, legitimate attempt to block the ball there, so not called unsportsmanlike. Great start for the Kiwis, though. Just under 6 to go, and they lead by 7.
Well, the youngster checking in for Russia, number 13, Dmitry Kovstov, and he's already coming in with his team trailing. He's looking to bring a spark. This is a Russian team, remember, without many of the key men, as well as number 14, Yevgeny Voronov. And Kahn misses both of them.
Lane violation, no substitution. Sasha Kahn comes out, and here's the big guy.
Kahn has to come out because of blood on the elbows, so Timothy Mozgov comes into the game. See if New Zealand can build on this lead. Cameron out to Abercrombie. Cameron for three. And the long rebound goes out to Varsevich. Kondrashov now going, and Abercrombie loses his feet. And a little bit out of control, Russia, but they get the ball back. Kovtsov. Back outside. Voronov, no good, and Bradshaw with the rebound. Here comes Lindsay Tate. Beirut Cameron, guarded, turns it, nope. Yep, nope, doesn't turn it over. Russia saying the ball went off Cameron, but the referees had a different viewpoint. And Casey Frank, the naturalized American, I'm interested to see him, and Beirut Cameron is gonna come out, catch his breath.
Good start for Cameron.
5 minutes.
And the fact of the matter is no fouls against Cameron. That's a big plus for New Zealand. In the friendly preparation games, he's been picking up very, very quick fouls. Sometimes 3 of them in the first period.
Kirk Penny. Now Tate.
2 on the shot clock.
Yep, they don't realize it. They realize it just at the final second. And Nene Vucic is upset with his team. That's a couple of trips down the floor now where they haven't scored. They haven't built on that lead. And Russia, especially with Monya on the floor, he can hit some threes and get hot.
And David Blatt demanding that Russia move the ball around more.
Penny guarding Voronov. And foul call beforehand on Penny. I don't think Mozgov's going to hurt him from long range, but he will try to go to work against Casey Frank down low. But he needs to get better position down on the low block. Now he wants it. Now they got to feed it to him, and he goes up and had the shot, but gets the ball back and kicks it back out. New Zealand, I think quite rightly, asking for a travel and didn't get it.
He traveled. Timothy Mozgov, 3 steps. Big ones at that.
Abercrombie. Russia with just 2 points in the first 6 minutes. What does that sound like? Sounds like the Australia that we watched yesterday. Kondrashov, 8 on the shot clock, gets it to Mozgov. He's not going to be stopped there. He's got a chance for a 3-point play.
Yeah, Cardinal sin there, letting the big guy get the ball a foot from the hoop and then fouling him.
First foul, Casey Frank. And nice touch from the big fella.
And the foul, dumb foul, 80 feet from the hoop. I was just about to say that Coach Scariolo at Kimki done a great job with young Mozgov. Certainly sorted out his foul shooting technique, but perhaps not his mind there, fouling a long, long way from the hoop.
The pressure on Lindsay Tate as he brings it. And the foul on Voronov, holding Kirk Penny.
Yeah, if Kirk Penny does anything, he draws a lot of fouls.
Voronov was fouled by Penny at the other end, but now Penny, because of the fouls accumulating for Russia, is going to take free throws and makes it. And probably the man you want on the line is Kirk Penny. He's come into this shooting, well, I thought it was better, 74%. And sure enough, he misses one. Shabastov goes up against Tate and takes it all the way in.
Great change of direction there from Kostov. Left his man for dead. Surprising no Jones yet. Phil Jones for New Zealand.
And good defense from Voronov, and he really is guarding Kirk Penny. He's like white on rice out there.
And right on cue, Phil Jones, number 8 for New Zealand, comes in, replacing Penny. Mike Fitchett also in for New Zealand. So
Fitchett applying the pressure, as well as Abercrombie. And Kirk Penny is going to take a breather. Ponkershoff. Moskov hands it back to Ponkershoff on the lane, and the left-hander puts it up and rims out. And over to Fitchett, who spins to get away, and Voronov picks up his second foul. And I'm sure the New Zealanders will be happy about that, because he really does look like a tough defender.
Well, it was a clumsy foul more than anything else, attempting the double team on the halfway line, and well drawn there by Fitchett.
So Fritzen checks back into the game for Russia as Fitchett goes to the line. And believe it or not, the first free throws for Mike Fitchett at this FIBA World Championship. And again, New Zealand come away making just 1 of 2. So Russia 1 of 3 at the line. New Zealand 2 of 4 at the line. Phil Jones helping out down low in case Moskov comes in against Bukona, and he just backs himself up and scores. Really, there's not too much more that, not Bukona, but Bradshaw, there's not too much more Bradshaw can do in that situation.
Well, there must be 50 pounds difference in weight there. Great upper body as well. Mozgov, he just powers his way in.
Bradshaw goes to work against the big fella, back out to Phil Jones for 3, and that's short. That was good defense from Sergei Monya. Phil Jones saying he got hit on the hand, but with 2:17 remaining here in the first quarter, New Zealand have gone cold. Just a couple of free throws after going up on top 9-2.
A lot of players make that mistake, you know, Jeff. They say, ref, I got hit on the hand. The hand is part of the ball, no foul. And now Russia on the foul line because New Zealand too are in the penalty.
Fritzen takes advantage and now has a chance to pull his team level. Well, David Blatt has had a really tough FIBA World Championship. The one thing he's done, he's at least been able to savor some wins, but it's been frustrating. Frustrating that he can't handle up his stars. Now the full court pressure from Russia. And Fitchett breaks it with the pass across midcourt to Bradshaw. But Russia really making the Kiwis work hard on offense. Fitchett over to Phil Jones now, 6-5 on the shot clock. Phil Jones is going to have to rush one up. Nope, they turn it over. They don't get it off in time. And Nana Vucinic is upset again. So we've got a tie game, and Russia having trailed 9-2 now here late in the first quarter with a chance to go on top.
No field goals in an age for New Zealand. 4 points from the line.
And Kostov misses. Maybe not a good shot. Kind of rushed that one up. They've had success going inside, but they put up the long J. Oh, look at the D from Russia. They are really causing the Tall Blacks problems. Good stuff. Over to Ponkershoff for 3. And bounces around, and Moskov is in there, and the foul called on Timothy Moskov.
And that's 2 shots, a loose ball foul. And Moskov annoyed with himself. Hands right up in the air, ref. The referee thought otherwise.
He definitely pushed off on Bradshaw there in your screen. Absolutely.
And for his pains, Moskov takes a break.
And that means calling back into the game for Russia.
Moskov comes out on 2 fouls.
So Bradshaw with a chance to put New Zealand back in front. Russia have never led in this game. And Bradshaw played his college basketball in America at Winthrop in South Carolina. He's been a part of this national team for quite a while now. And makes both of them. So New Zealand back up on top by 2 points here.
And very close to a 5-second goal there.
And the full court pressure, they've still got some work to do, and Punkershoff does get it past Abercrombie. A minute remaining in the first quarter. Fritzen at the free throw line. And the rebound, it just looks like Russia are a lot bigger out there. So really a distinct size advantage at every position for New Zealand. And Punkershoff drives in and uses his left hand and scores.
And New Zealand very fortunate not to give away an unwon there as well. A lot of contact on the shots.
I haven't seen much of Abercrombie since that follow-up on that missed shot at the start of the game. And Casey Frank gets a chance to score and had the shot he wanted but missed it. Goes out of bounds to the Tall Blacks.
Kirk Penny coming back in for New Zealand. 22 seconds remaining in the first period.
They will surely hold it for one shot, but I don't think Russia, as we look at the replay, Frank saying he got hit and there was no call, but I don't think Russia's going to let them hold it for one shot. Fitch.
There's almost another.
Almost a violation there for New Zealand. Down to 15 seconds. Fitchett holding outside. Watch for Penny to pop outside. Bradshaw can also score as well as Jones. 3, 6, and Penny drives into the lane and draws the foul on Fritzen.
That's what they were looking for. Go inside, come out with something. And Kirk Penny on the foul line, despite the protestations of Coach Blatt.
Here's another look at that. Tough call for Russia. The foul was on Punkershoff. That was his first. So Penny makes the first. And with 3.9 seconds remaining, though, I wonder if Blatt's going to get a timeout.
No, with a fast break.
Oh, and Penny knocks it away, but Punkershoff gets it back, puts up a 3, and stays out. So Russia stayed with it, and New Zealand dodged the bullet right there at the end. Very close game here, folks. New Zealand right now shading it 15-13. This Russian team playing some good, hard physical defense. I think New Zealand's got their work cut out for them.
Jeff, all I can say is
one on the Rugby Channel.
And you can see, looking at this dome, this is really quite an atmosphere to watch international basketball. It doesn't get any better than this. And the Tall Blacks certainly love the big stage, as they've proven time and time again, especially 8 years ago when they did reach the semifinals of the FIBA World Championship. Punkershoff. Monia now. And Sasha Kahn trying to take on Bradshaw. Fitchett thought he might steal it. Into the corner goes to Fritzen. And Casey Frank goes up, brings it down with 2 hands.
Great defense there from New Zealand. Stuck with it even when the ball went inside to the big guy.
Oh, bounce pass, looking for the cutting Jones. Russia not giving too much away down there.
Well, an update on 2 players I picked at the start of the game. No foul yet, Pero Cameron, but the big guy for Russia, Timothy Mozgov, on the bench on 2 fouls.
Phil Jones for 3. 10 seconds. Phil Jones, the left-hander, takes it back to a 5-point lead.
And immediately David Blatt sends for Andrei Vorontsovich. Didn't like what he saw there from Phil Jones.
Kutsov over to Fritzen again, and finally hits the 3-pointer for Russia.
Yeah, been doing that all over Europe this year, last 2 years, in fact. Fritzen.
1 of 9 from 3-point range from Russia, and that one makes it a 2-point game again. Pitch it to Bradshaw, who has it knocked away by Kahn. They just look so big out there. Fitchett He hits it off the rim and
new shot clock.
Yep.
Great hustle.
There was like a delay in resetting the shot clock.
It only just clipped the rim, so good officiating there on the table.
And Penny fouled by Punkashoff. Second foul from Punkashoff. Boy, those Russians, I keep saying it, but you know they are playing some defense. They're making life hard for New Zealand.
Well, I've never seen a David Blatt team not play tough defense. Coached at Aris in Greece last year, and exactly the same there in Euro Cup. He demands 100% at this end of the floor.
Phil Jones, guarded by Fritzen, gets the hand in there. There's Kirk Penny now going against Monya. The switch with Sasha Khan. Goes past him, pulls up.
Offensive foul, handing off.
Offensive foul called on Kirk Penny.
That's his second.
Let's take a look at this again. I think it's a tough call for Penny. I could have understood it maybe the first sequence, but not on the second. Monya now backs up Penny and puts up an air ball. The Russians do have their struggles on offense. They've had their struggles in this tournament. Fidget over to Cameron, hits a cutting Frank. Over to Penny in the corner, good! For three!
Wonderful offense from New Zealand. Went inside, no way. Was a layup there, found Penny in the corner, who nailed it in a blink of an eye.
Well, this is their opportunity, the Tall Blacks. They do not come any bigger for these guys.
Fritzen draws the foul against Phil Jones.
Phil Jones, but Pero Cameron in the game right now for New Zealand. Fitchett goes out, Lindsay Tate comes back in.
2 fouls Jones, so Jones and Penny on 2 fouls each.
Here's another look at the three from Kirk Penny. And Pero Cameron chases Sasha Khan all the way out and decides he's not going to shoot it from out there, so comes back down low. And really, because of the bulk of Pero Cameron, you understand why he's so important in this game. As Bykov gets into the lane and scores. New Zealand need all the big bodies they can get against Khan and against Moskov. Lindsay Tate over to Cameron. On the shot clock, now 10. Tate.
Look at the job
on the shot clock, and the defense from Russia is making it hard, but Tate goes in, he gets blocked by Borisevich. Outlet pass to Bykov. Bykov into the lane and throws it to his teammate who's on the ground, and it triggers a fast break for Lindsay Tate, who gets blocked by Sergei Monya. What a play by the Russian defense, hustling back Sergei Moskov.
And what's more, they got possession from it as well. Here's the block.
What a play, what hustle from Sergei Monya. And that's what they deserve. And look at Victor Kriapa, the man who can't play for whatever reason because of injuries, applauding his team. New Zealand know they should have done better on that possession. However, the Tall Blacks still with a 3-point advantage. Lukana on Monya. Pero Cameron guarding Khan. Big Sasha backs up Pero and puts it up and in off the glass.
Not a lot Pero Cameron can do about that. At 35 years of age, he's lacking a little bit of foot speed nowadays.
Lindsay Tate, and it goes to Pero Cameron. Over to Kurt Penny, and it goes to Vicona. Out to Casey Frank. Passes up to three, bounce pass to Penny in the corner. And Cowan with the rebound, and Russia now looks to take the lead. Up ahead it goes to Borisevich. Russia takes the lead.
Timeout New Zealand. They trail by 1 now, having led almost entirely until this moment.
Well, look at the awareness to see Borisevich get up ahead on the fast break. New Zealand caught napping. And Russia have taken their first lead of this 8th final.
When you're open, you keep the ball.
Well, Russia just 1 of 9 from long range. New Zealand not really much better, 3 of 11. And much of that is because whenever they're putting up the threes, the Russians are getting their hands in their faces. They've scouted them well. And obviously Russia using that distinct size advantage, trying to get the ball inside to either Mozgov or, like on the previous trip down the floor, Sasha Khan. Roy, do you get the sense looking at this game that physically Russia just a little bit stronger, and that's going to be tough for the New Zealanders?
Taller, bigger upper bodies, probably more experience as well on the international stage with a defense-minded coach. But New Zealand, a team of fighters. Okay, they trail by 1 at the moment, struggling to get anything inside. But if they can get Kirk Penny open a couple of times, that may open the game up.
Well, they're trying to keep the pressure on the defensive end. Lindsay Tate going up against Sergei Bykov.
And Kirk Penny has Andrei Voncerovic in his boots with him.
Vukona up at the top of the key. Up, and the ball goes out of bounds, and that defensive pressure, again, it's really making them work, the Kiwis. Ponkrashov comes to accept the inbounds, guarded by Abercrombie, who's gone quiet again after that opening follow-up, that opening basket. Bounce pass, and Sasha Khan. And the Russians now lead it by 3.
And not an awful lot Pero Cameron can do with that.
Vukona takes it all the way, looks for the pass. Good hands from Monia. Just 7 seconds on the shot clock.
Well, the Russians know that Kirk Penny is a key to the New Zealand offense, and Andrei Voncerovic has done a great job denying him the ball.
Well, it's
and now they've switched someone else on him now, Sergei Monia.
It's Monia on him now. They inbound the ball. Here comes Lindsay Tate. 5 on the shot clock, spin move. Lindsay Tate goes up and gets blocked by Khan. And it really is like running into a Russian wall right now for New Zealand. I don't know what Nenad Vucinic can do about it.
And it's a foul, number 10.
A foul called on Thomas Abercrombie. And Russia will inbound it underneath their own basket. In fact, it's on Pero Cameron called for the foul.
New Zealand have to dig deep now on defense. They trail by 3.
Vorncevich finds Sergei Monia under the basket, and Kurt Penny fouls Sergei Monia.
And that's his 3rd.
That's a big play in this game. Write it down. 2nd foul.
Well, he's gone against Cameron again.
They must have called the foul beforehand, so Kurt Penny dodging the bullet. And he makes it, though. So Penny, Vukona, Phil Jones, all on 2 fouls, as well as Pero Cameron. And Russia really sensing they can go in for the kill here. Those free throws, putting them in front by 5, their largest lead of the game midway through the 2nd quarter. 10 on the shot clock. The pressure is relentless from Russia. Cameron, Kirk Penny. He's going to have to do something special here against Sasha Khan. Boy, they are working, and the offensive foul.
No.
Trying to free himself. Watch his elbow. Well, he definitely did try to nudge Khan away. And Khan and that Russian defense has really caused problems for the Tall Blacks, and I don't think Vucinic knows what to do.
Well, David Blatt certainly scouted New Zealand, knowing the threat that Kirk Penny poses, and he's got him on the bench on 3 fouls, 2 of them offensive.
He'll probably target Phil Jones now. Sergei Monia for three, good! And Russia has taken an 8-point advantage, and New Zealand are gonna call a timeout.
Well, in 6.5 minutes, New Zealand been restricted to 8 points.
That's 16-8 so far. Or rather 16-6 in this second quarter. So total domination by the Russians. And we felt that that's what was happening right at the end of the first quarter. New Zealand with those 7 turnovers. A testament to that Russian pressure.
Coach Vicinic, Serb-born, but now very definitely a Kiwi. And look at that run of 13 points without reply for Russia. Coach Vicinic, good time to call a timeout. Game was slipping away from him. Russian fans up in the higher echelons of this arena, enjoying themselves. So the Kiwi timeout is over. Let's see what they can do to redress the balance somewhat. They trail by 8, 3.5 to go, first half.
Lindsay Tate over to Abercrombie, who's gone quiet. Jones, Peru camera in the corner. Jones going at the line into young Abercrombie, who puts up the baseline jumper. That's a tough shot.
Tough shot indeed, especially as David Blatt has changed the defense around. He's going to a 2-3 zone as well. Very similar to the Turkish zone. 3 big men covering a lot of space at the back of that defense.
Sergei Bykov, Ponkrashov, Roncevic, entry pass, and he puts it on the floor and gets it taken away. Good hands by New Zealand. Here comes Phil Jones. Over to Cameron. Into Vacona. Back to Cameron. Just very difficult. They really do seem to have sussed out the New Zealand offense. Phil Jones into the lane. Phil Jones, one shot now, but good hustle by Vacona. Gets it back inside to Abercrombie. So they reset the shot clock. 2.5 minutes to go. Phil Jones thinks about it and draws contact. No call. Gets the ball back. But boy, it is hard work in there for New Zealand, and Russia has seen enough. David Blatt's going to call a timeout.
Well, I really don't know what New Zealand have got to do to get a foul called in their favor. Phil Jones was fouled 3 times on his way to the hoop there, and eventually it was called.
Well, I think Voronov called for the foul, so that's his 3rd. And Russia, talk about the New Zealand threat. That is Phil Jones. It's 29-23.
Yeah, David Blatt called a timeout to stop the run of 2 without reply by New Zealand. Doesn't want to give New Zealand even a sniff of anything. Interesting that New Zealand's offense has gone to using Pero Cameron as the point guard now.
Well, it figures if he's being guarded by Sasha Kohn. Yeah, they've got to try something different. You got to be able to make adjustments when things aren't working. But David Blatt, really solid coach at Maccabi Tel Aviv, but his career really took off when he led Dinamo St. Petersburg to the FIBA Europe League crown, an undefeated season, and was then appointed coach of Benetton Treviso, where he coached for 2 years and led the likes of Andrea Bargnani to a title.
And he broke every Spanish heart in Eurobasket, with a certain J.R. Holden winning Eurobasket.
Yep, that was
for Russia.
That was not expected. Phil Jones makes the first one, but that Russian team, a lot of similarities with this Russian team. People not respecting them, and yet they just kept getting the job done. Ponkrashov now with Russia holding on to a 4-point lead.
So in response to Russia's 16-0 run, New Zealand 4-0 at the moment, coming out of their timeouts. New Zealand in the zone.
New Zealand still in the zone. Bikov. Over it goes Sergei Monya. Well, he's a zone buster, but doesn't bust that one. But what they don't do is keep Kahn off the boards.
Regulation point guard now with Lindsay Tate for New Zealand.
Pharaoh Cameron.
Oh, what a pass.
Abercrombie into the lane. And Abercrombie doesn't come away with any points. And the charge called on Ponkrashov. Good position that time from Thomas Abercrombie.
Yeah, good defensive stance from Abercrombie. That's his third.
Well, Ponkrashov takes a seat as well, like Voronov. So foul trouble for both teams.
Problem from New Zealand, though. I think Kirk Penny on 3 fouls is a much more valuable player than Ponkrashov.
Well, don't underestimate Ponkrashov.
Yeah, not
without question, Penny is one of the star performers. Phil Jones takes the 3 and hits the front end of the back of the rim and stays out. Vukona tries to get the steal. And Russia coming back with a 6-point lead. Bikov.
Kiwis got to hang on now. It's 6 points that they trail by, and they don't want to go in with a double-digit deficit against them.
Well, you feel the momentum has shifted ever so slightly. Fridson decides against, he's on 2 seconds on the shot clock and ends up putting up a tough shot, and Vukona goes up. Look at the hustle from Russia. They are making New Zealand work for everything, and they're calling a foul now on Russia. And Vukona, and Vorncevic has a bloody nose, it looks like. No, something happened there, some scrapping. I guess he just has a red nose.
Well, in a held ball situation like that, bodies diving everywhere, someone's going to get hurt.
And really doing the right thing. Vucinic takes Vukona out of the game. Watch this. And
well, there's no malice there, and it may even have been a Russian hand that hit Voroncevic.
It's just like almost at the bottom of a scrum, like what you might expect.
Well,
I don't know. Thankfully, good job from Sergei Monya. But what's happened? It looks like.
Well, I tell you what, Jeff.
Fouls have been called here. Unsportsmanlike foul on Vorncevic. 2 free throws have been awarded, and that's his 3rd foul. This is a crucial sequence here. 2 free throws and the ball. And David Blatt and Russia are beside themselves because they don't understand why their man is the only one that's been punished.
I can tell you why, because on the slow-mo, we saw Voroncevic go in, and he rucked. There was no attempt for the ball. He just rucked a man.
And really, and David Blatt now is having words with Vorncevic to that effect. And you think if somebody's going to be rucking, it would be the Kiwis. It would be the Kiwis from the land of rugby. But Pharaoh Cameron doesn't take advantage. He misses the free throw. Makes the second one. So that cuts the lead down to 5, and New Zealand maintain possession.
Just under 51 seconds remaining. First half, it's a 5-point game. New Zealand, a team of fighters.
Well, hanging in there without Penny with the 3 fouls. The final minute of the first half, and Kutsov back into the game for Russia. Now Abercrombie, Bradshaw. Phil Jones is choice number 1. Oh, the alley-oop. Abercrombie goes in. And can you believe the kid has no fear, and I think has drawn a foul from Sasha Kahn. And definitely he fouled him. He is a high flyer. How many dunking contests is he going to win in his life? That's what I'd like to know.
The most outstanding centre in the New Zealand League last year. He won the Stan Hill Award, a legendary centre from New Zealand, and then he misses the foul shot.
I think he's actually listed as a guard in his team, though, strangely. But he jumps center. Must be a mistake. Makes the free throw. New Zealand really struggling at the free throw line.
And David Black calls another timeout.
Well, I say they're struggling, but they're 10 of 14, so that's not too bad, 71%. But Black calls a timeout. Really kind of strange how the Kiwis have kind of hung around. You know, they'd like to take some momentum to halftime.
Yeah, it was all going one way for about 4 or 5 minutes in this second period, but the Kiwis refused to buckle, and they're back to within 4. 35 seconds remaining.
Looking at the foul trouble for Russia, they have Vorontsevich with 3 fouls, they have Pongrashov with 3 fouls, and they have Voronov with 3 fouls. But it does seem that Russia can replace like for like in many instances, so maybe that's not as crucial for them. As you said, the leading scorer, when he goes to the bench for New Zealand, then that's a problem.
That's a problem. I don't think New Zealand have anyone to replace Kirk Penny.
But you also wonder maybe if Russia, with the star player of the other team going to the bench, almost kind of ease up a little bit on the defensive end, or maybe they don't know who to really pay attention to.
Yeah, I think
you know, clearly it's Phil Jones is the man.
One of the keys for me is the fact that David Blatt has kept Timothy Mozgov. He's had a little bit of court time. He's caused a couple of problems in there. He's on 2 fouls, but he's kept him out. And I fully anticipate seeing him introduced early in the second half. He's deadly inside, and he'll be a real handful for New Zealand. New Zealand now have to play defense. They're 4 behind.
Well, 10 seconds on the game clock and the shot clock. It's Lindsay Tate on Kutsov. Almost loses control of it. Bradshaw trying to fend off the screen, off the pick. Bikov back to Kutsov. Passes up the jumper, bounce pass, in it goes to Sasha Khan, and the travel called on Sasha Khan. And telling the young Russian to shoot the ball is David. I think they're making a commitment to get it inside, but sometimes when you've got 5 guys hanging on you like the Kiwis, it's
10 seconds.
10 seconds on the shot clock.
Both teams in the penalty.
Abercrombie attacking the basket. An offensive foul called on
Casey Frank, I think.
Casey Frank, and that allows Russia. Now here's another look at it. Well, he kind of stuck his backside into the Russian as he ran past. So 4.8 seconds remaining. Monya. Kutsov back to Monya. Don't let him shoot it. He can shoot it from 3, but misses badly. Gosh, that's a really ugly shot from a guy that can really shoot. But that leaves Russia with a 31-27 lead at halftime. New Zealand gonna go and regroup. Russia as well. Long way to go in this one, folks.
Well, you just thought that New Zealand were going to buckle, but their fighting spirit came through. Russia were in the ascendancy, leading by 8. Timeout called by New Zealand, and they've scrapped, and that's the only word I can use really, they've scrapped their way back into this game. They trail by 4. Russia winning the rebounds, 19-15. That's pretty close. Look at that, turnovers, 8 each. And New Zealand, they've stolen the ball 2 more times than Russia. But the block shots inside, just evidence of the fact that Russia are huge compared to New Zealand. 5 block shots.
Well, as you look at the leading scores, the key for Russia was going on that big scoring run. They had a 13-0 run that helped them take command in the second quarter. And it looked like New Zealand were about ready to be knocked out, but somehow they did hold it together.
And they held it together with Kirk Penny, their inspiration, their top scorer, on the bench on 3 fouls.
Well, it's halftime. Don't go away. An exciting 20 minutes to wait. Remember, the winner of this game goes on to play the United States in the quarterfinal. It's Russia 31, New Zealand 27.
The times.
One of the startling facts or stats of that first half is that the second top scorer in the tournament so far, Kirk Penny, is still the leading scorer in this game with, would you believe, 8 points. He spent a long time on the bench. He's on 3 fouls. But what's happened in this game is that Russia started playing some really tough defense, and New Zealand says to them, okay, you want to make the game ugly? We can do the same. It's a very ugly game at the moment, but very, very well poised. 31-27 at the half.
And there's foul trouble for both teams. Penny with 3. A lot of New Zealanders have 2 fouls. The Russians as well have some foul trouble. Moransevich, Punkershoff, and Voronov each have 3 fouls. Alex Pledger getting some treatment for his knee. I don't know, maybe he'll come in and offer something against the big guys. But Penny's going to start the second half. I mean, you've got to go with your best. Tate is going to try to bring it up the court against Sergei Bykov, and it looks like David Blatt has really gotten into his team and said, if you thought this was tough defense, I want to see even more, because they're really getting after him. Kirk Penny, a good shot in the lane, but misses badly.
Well, New Zealand missed their first 2 shots in the opening period, both taken by Penny.
Fritzen now 6 on the shot clock. He's got to get it up. He puts up a 3. Go!
Vitaly Fritzen, 10 points to him. He becomes the game's leading scorer now. That's the second 3 he's hit.
Well, now 7-point lead. Russia's biggest lead in this game was 8. Abercrombie, and really for Russia it has been the D. You can just see it stifling out there. Abercrombie hits the 3. Well, it's a tough shot. He did have his man on him, and Bykov goes in and loses control of the ball. It's a little bit out of control. Bykov going to be moving to CSKA Moscow next season.
And Bykov can't stand, well, he can't bear to look at David Blatt then, and David Blatt just turns his back on him. That 3 there from Abercrombie. We're back to a 4-point game.
Abercrombie maybe has been told to get more into the offense. Maybe he was drifting a little bit in that first half. Lindsay Tate over to Cameron and hands it off to Bradshaw, or Abercrombie, but I think he's short on that one. He went down almost trying to draw the foul. And good D from Kirk Penny.
Penny convinced that there was a little deflection there.
19 on the shot clock. Fritzen with the inbound. Moransevich. Now Fritzen hits Bykov in the lane, and he shoots up an air ball, follows up the shot. And Strange, gosh, boy, they're working hard just to get the ball back. And look at Penny, the sight to Bradshaw. Or to Abercrombie, excuse me, and now it's a 2-point game. Now it's just a very interesting sequence.
Well, it was phenomenal awareness from the New Zealand players. It almost went out of bounds 3 times, and they kept it in and scored on the break. It's a 2-point game.
It's good hustle from Abercrombie to get up the floor, and well spotted by Kirk Penny. Bounce pass to Fritzen, and
oh, what a rebound.
Moransevich, who has 3 fouls, just comes soaring in. Abercrombie is fouled before the shot by Fritzen. And Vitaly Fritzen, that's his first foul. So they had one to give away. Look at the hustle from this. Look at the hustle. It's plays like this you have to make if you're going to win a world title, or at least if you're going to stay in the hunt. Here Cameron hands it off to Penny. He goes up and has to rush his shot, sensing those tall Russians. But Penny has to be careful. Tough for him in this situation with those 3 fouls. And Russia come away with a second opportunity.
Well, both teams showing fantastic commitment, prepared to throw their bodies on every loose ball.
That's right. It's do or die right now for both of these teams. Neither one wants to go home. And nice D from Vukona. Into the corner goes to Bikoff. And Vukona and Vorcevic. And the push, and it's on Penny. And Kurt Penny called for his 4th foul in the game.
And the crowd don't like that, obviously. Well, will Coach Vucinic be brave enough to leave him out there? I think he's got to take him out on those 4 fouls. Yeah, Phil Jones coming in to replace Penny.
But it was strange because Penny also went down almost as if he had gotten hurt, but maybe he was just so angry with the situation. So the pressure now to Phil Jones. Vorcevic for 3 or for 2.
Long 2.
Abercrombie. Well, somebody's got to step up for the Kiwis. They really do make you work, the Russians. Phil Jones. I think that's off the rim, yep. And look at the fight from Vukona. 3 Russians around him, and somehow he came out with a ball. These tall blacks aren't going to give in. Lindsey Tate over to Pero Cameron. Over to Abercrombie, who soars in and scores in a chance for a 3-point play. The hustle of Mika Vukona has to be praised.
And the wraparound pass from Pero Cameron. Amazing passing to Abercrombie there, who gets the and 1.
Well, I think Abercrombie was really missing from the offense in that first half. He just wasn't getting involved, and clearly now with Penny, especially going to the bench, he's got that sense of urgency in his game.
Now a key substitution. Sasha Khan comes out, replaced by Timothy Mozgov. All 7 feet 1 of him. 2 fouls, Mozgov.
Abercrombie makes the free throw and gets that deficit back to 3. And now some full court pressure. No, they bring Vukona back. Lindsey Tate trying to make Kutsov take some of the half-court trap. Kutsov, the inexperience, turns it over. Oh, but somehow great hustle from Monya, and it leads almost to a basket. But again, Vukona takes over. Terrific play from Vukona. And now Pero Cameron for 3 off the back of the rim. Boy, that would have brought the house down.
There's a foul on the play, number 7, Vukona. Yeah, and referee doesn't want to know about what Vukona's telling him.
3 fouls on Vukona. I mean, I think you said it, Roy. The commitment from both teams right now is something to watch. Both of these teams leaving nothing to chance. They are getting after it.
Well, this is not pretty basketball, but it's very, very exciting. 3 points, that's all the lead is for Russia.
This is a game of desire right now for both of these teams. And silly foul given away by Lindsey Tate. Really silly foul.
Extra silly because that's the 3rd against New Zealand. They don't want to get in the penalty this early.
His first personal foul. Well, 5 minutes, 30 seconds to go here in a thrilling 3rd quarter. Vorcevic. They go down to Mozgov. He goes to work, and that was good, well defended from Pero Cameron, and Vukona comes in for another rebound. He is playing like a monster right now, Vukona. He is a man possessed. Get him the ball. Pero Cameron, the reach from Mozgov, no call, and the turnover. Ponkrashov, boy, these guys are letting them play, aren't they? Mozgov goes down, and Voskov goes on top, and it looks like...
Who's the foul? It's
Oh, they are calling a foul on Mika Vukona.
For jumping on him, basically.
Well, he didn't call the foul. He didn't call the foul, though, until he stood up and Mozgov took a swing at him. Watch this. He goes down. He wants the foul. He does foul him, no question about it. But then he didn't make the call until he stood up. Anyway, tough game to referee sometimes. At least he got the right call. Ponkrashov, but that was big because now Vukona's got 4 fouls. Vorcevic for 3, good!
Andrei Veroncevic doing a great job at both ends of the floor. If New Zealand have a key player, then he takes him.
The reach, they're really letting Mozgov reach around, and Vucinic is telling something to the referees. And really, I think he's got a point.
Wow, what a turnover from Timothy Mozgov, and he's very angry with himself. And I don't think his coach is that appreciative of it either. Oh, that went into the third row of the stand, I think.
But watch how Mozgov is playing defense on Peru Cameron. Bikov out. Never really looks happy, Bikov. Doesn't mean that he's not happy. Lindsay Tate. Over to Perry. There's Mozgov again, and that time great defense from Mozgov. Comes up with the steal. Hands it off to Kutsov.
The bounce pass off his knees.
Ponkrashov. Russia with a 6-point advantage. Boy, the intensity must be killing Kirk Penny to be on the bench right now, as well as Vicona for New Zealand. Fridson drives in. Strong play, and the rebound tip in from Timothy Mozgov.
Timeout, New Zealand.
Look at the play. Again, the hustle, the intensity. And watch Mozgov come in. Questions once again being asked of New Zealand as David Blatt talks to his big center.
Those bucket-sized hands of Timothy Mozgov, a little fingertip, and he puts Russia into an 8-point lead.
Well, Russia really starting to dominate on the glass right now. 28 rebounds to 19 for New Zealand. At halftime, they were out rebounding the Kiwis 19 to 15. So you can see where the game is being won and lost.
Well, to me, the game is being won and lost with 3 offensive fouls, all called against Kirk Penny.
Well, that's going to be a battle, the Oceania Championship. Australia having really been pushed out of this tournament pretty hard yesterday by Slovenia. And New Zealand also. That'll be a good Oceania Championship. And of course, the winner will go to the Olympics. But right now, we're at the FIBA World Championship. 8 finals here in Turkey. And the Russian defense is causing problems. Abercrombie goes in for the swat, but Russia stick with it. And the pressure is really starting to tell now on New Zealand. They're trailing by 10 points.
Now, last time New Zealand came out of a timeout, it was a good face for them. They scored 4 without reply, but they come out of this one and lost 2. 10 points down, New Zealand, in a very low-scoring game. And no Kirk Penny on the floor.
Abercrombie for 3. Nope. Bradshaw gets it inside to Phil Jones, and he had a layup, but perhaps sensing the Russian defense just threw it up wildly. The game is starting to get away from New Zealand. They need to get some stops and some easy baskets.
New Zealand back in a zone.
Fridson into the corner, goes to Vorcevic, and he does not, or does he? Does he beat the, yes, he does beat the shot clock with the 3. That was huge. Russia in the ascendancy, leading by 13 points. New Zealand are in trouble. Somebody call Wellington. Oh, terrific play from Abercrombie, but he can't get it to go down, and it's 1 shot and out for the Kiwis. Mozgov.
Foul.
And Bradshaw called for the foul.
There's the foul, just reaching in. Bit of an unsung hero here for Russia. That's the number 4, Andrei Veroncevic. He's doing a phenomenal job on defense and hitting 3s as well. New Zealand in the penalty.
That's one of the 3-pointers right there. And Nenad Vucinic knows this thing is slipping away from his team. He doesn't punish him with the first free throw. How long does he keep Penny on the bench?
We have to remember that the winners of this game play the United States, and I think both teams have sent a message out to the United States, and Russia in particular, you're going to be in for a tough game.
Well, they're going to come out and play hard. Casey Frank inbounds it to Fitchett, and Fritzen forces him to give it to Frank, who finds Jones in the corner. I mean, you don't want to panic if you're New Zealand, but it really is just, it's been relentless pressure. I think it's probably been the best defensive effort, certainly that I've seen since I've been at this FIBA World Championship.
I just wonder how long Coach Bacinic can keep Penny on the bench.
Well, you don't want him to come in when you're already down 20.
Yeah, he's not going to score from that bench. Oh, lovely, beautiful. There's the timeout.
Timeout called by New Zealand, trailing by 16 points. Another look at Ponkrashov.
Well, Russia have gone on 2 big scoring spurts in that second period. Between the first and the second period, rather, it was 16-0, and he must be something like 10 or 12 now, from leading only by 2. Now it's 16. 32-19 on the boards as well. Russia in total command.
Defensively, we go great. Okay, gray out. If we can, get it up there, gray out. You 3 at the first line, you 3 at the back line, right?
Well, you're starting to see why Russia won 4 of their 5 games in Group C. The only team to beat them was Turkey. And in that game, the Russians, I think, gave Turkey everything they could handle. And Turkey only won by a slender margin. 65-56.
The thing about these Russians, though, they play such tough defense. They do actually push the officials to the very limit. And here they go, going for the jugular with some full court pressure.
They've kept the full court pressure up, and really they have brought Penny back into the game, New Zealand, so it's now or never for New Zealand on the ropes with 11 minutes remaining and trailing by 16 points. How long can Kurt Penny stay in the game with 4 fouls? Casey Frank, and foul, is it called on Monskov?
Kostov, Dmitry Kostov, 13.
So the young guard, he's got 3 fouls. So Russia using up their fouls. And now Voronov is going to come back into the game with 3 fouls for Russia. David Blatt wants the substitution.
Well, it's almost like cannon fodder for Russia. Doesn't matter who commits a foul, just go in there and play tough defense.
Fitchett over to Penny. Well, David Blatt talks about being proud of his guys, and you can understand why. They've been working hard. Casey Frank into the corner to Fitchett, and he hits a 3. 13-point advantage. I think David Blatt is so demanding on his defense. I mean, he just doesn't want anything to go up. He doesn't want any shots taken from the Tall Blacks. Russia now go right back to Moskov. The foul, no, the travel called on Moskov. And David Blatt didn't like it. 44 seconds remaining. Well, Moskov, as he goes to the NBA next year with the Nets, is going to probably be working on his footwork quite a lot.
The kid with a great name comes in, Eugenie Kalashnikov. Is he a shooter? We'll see.
He's come in for Russia. Fitchett, he's just hit that 1 3-pointer and the kick from Kutsov.
Referees looking at each other. Who kicked it?
And the French referee, David Chambon, did not see it, so they're going to reset the shot clock. 34 seconds on the game clock. Who can free themselves? Well, Jones can hit the 3, Penny can hit a 3, and Fitchett has just proved that he can hit a 3. And if they take one quickly, they'll get the ball back. Bradshaw's going to take the 3, and off the rim, but good play by Bradshaw, or by Frank, to knock it out. And Fitchett is fouled by Kutsov. So Russia not yet in the bonus, but the foul trouble, only 2 fouls on Kutsov. So I would guess that New Zealand will hold it for 1, but I don't know if Russia are going to let them hold it for 1. We'll see. Fitchett pulls it out. Yep, they are. Watch for Penny to pop up. He did it in the first half. Here he comes into the motion. They get it over to Bradshaw. 5 on the shot clock. 5 on the game clock, rather. Here comes Penny. 2 seconds, and he has to put up a desperation. And he is fouled by Voronov, who didn't move, and Blatt is beside himself.
And it's a 3-shot foul. Just what New Zealand needed with half a second.
Was he definitely taking the 3? Unbelievable. I mean, it was going to be an ugly shot no matter what, because Russia were giving nothing away. So he hits the first one. Only 0.4 seconds remaining. I wonder if Blatt will call a timeout. No, it was a 2. It was inside the arc, and that's it. And Kutsov, that was a long 0.4 seconds. So at least New Zealand give themselves hope there at the end of the first half. They trail 51-40 against Russia. Will it be a fifth team from Europe to go to the quarterfinals to meet the USA?
Ball 3.
Here. Will the Russians make the quarterfinals, or will it be New Zealand?
Well, the American scouts will be watching this game, and they'll know that they have to eat some red meat because these two teams, they play for real.
And how could I forget Turkey? Of course, they're in the quarterfinals as well. And already a foul called against Russia for holding. And the foul was on Sergei Monya. And, oh yeah, he grabbed his jersey. Well spotted by the referee. Kirk Penny for 3. And fouled by Fritzen. Gets 3 shots. Claiming that he just stuck his leg out. And that complaint's going to fall on deaf ears for Fritzen.
And immediately Blatt sends for Voroncevic. I think he recognizes that the Kiwis, if they're going to win this game, they're going to win it with Kirk Penny. And Voroncevic has come on, and I suspect that's to do a job on the man on 4 fouls. Kirk Penny.
Well, he makes the first one. Every point at a premium for the Tall Blacks. 9:41 remaining. They are playing their hearts out just as the Russians are. Neither coach can have any complaint whatsoever about the effort. And when will Abercrombie come back in for the Tall Blacks as well? 51-43. Bukona on the bench with 4 fouls for New Zealand. So some hope here for the Tall Blacks here at the start of the 4th quarter.
5 in a row for New Zealand. Come back from 13 behind. Staying in that zone.
7 on the shot clock. Kutsev hands it off to Moskov and just didn't have the soft hands. But the tall Russians, they just cannot get the ball. The tall Blacks can't get the ball away from the tall Russians.
The Tall Blacks can't get it back from the even taller Russians.
I mean, you just see the loose ball. Look at that, how many Russian hands are up there. It's just very difficult to keep them off the glass. Bykov into the game, Ponkrashov hands it off to Voroncevic. Oh man, he is money. He is absolutely on fire for Russia. 14 points, 11 rebounds. Has really sparked them. And also on the defensive end, 2 blocks. Penny, no good. And Phil Jones knocks it out. Well, that was a big shot from Voroncevic.
Well, the instructions from Coach Vicinic of New Zealand pretty obvious. We're going to do it through Kirk Penny, or we're not going to do it at all.
Ponkrashov finds some space, kicks it to Bykov for 3. Good. And with But New Zealand trying to seal off the interior. It's leaving somebody open.
All that effort, and they're still 13 behind. I'm not sure they can sit in that zone for much longer. Jones inside.
Nice recognition from New Zealand. Good pass from Bradshaw. 8 minutes to go. Russia on top by 11. Getting ever so closer to a very interesting game against the United States. But a brick from Punkashaw. David Blatt must be thinking, come on guys, we can shoot it better than that.
Penny wants a pick. Oh, the foul, number 13. Yeah, Casey Frank.
Offensive foul, pushing off on Casey Frank.
And David Blatt wants a timeout.
Well, Facona's going to come back into the game, but David Blatt, 4 fouls on Casey Frank. New Zealand, their backs are to the wall, 7:44 remaining.
And Phil Jones was incensed at the referee then. And one of his younger players grabbed hold of him and told him, don't get a technical, we don't need that. So David Blatt leads by 11. I just wonder why he's called a timeout. Got 3 in the second half. Has he used one already?
Well, if you look at the points in the paint, I think they took a bad shot last time down. And I think he just wants to make sure his guys keep the discipline, because the time before they found Punkashaw and he hit the 3. Well, there's the man, Andrei Vorncevic has been lights out here in the second half. 14 points, already on a double-double.
And he started on the defensive end as well.
Punkashaw for 3. Kiwis cannot keep Mozgov off the glass.
The foul, Craig Bradshaw. And David Blatt actually just said to Andrei Punkashaw, don't worry, you missed a shot, keep shooting. At least I think that's what he said. They were smiling anyway. Pretty uncompromising foul there from Bradshaw.
And the Giant center makes the first free throw here to take the lead back to 12. Does make you wonder how this Russian team would play against the United States. I'm sure they would be up to the occasion as Mozgov misses the second and Bradshaw comes down with it. Fitchett. Abercrombie into the game. Over to Penny. Over to Fitchett. Now a little mismatch in size. And the dump into Vukona, and the hands of Vorncevic. In Russia, the pressure is relentless right now.
Yeah, New Zealand gone back to a man-to-man. The zone worked for a minute or two.
Well, the dump down low to Vorncevic, and he's fouled, and that's the last one on Vukona. Or is it on Abercrombie? It's probably on Vukona. And
yep,
it's 5. A truly terrific performance tonight from Mika Vukona. The effort was there. Perhaps that one foul where he fell on top of Mozgov, he could have done without, but overall a great effort from him. And Pero Cameron back into the game. And the terrific shooting of Vorncevic isn't shown there at the free throw line. During the game, he's 6 of 7 from the floor, including 2 makes on his 2 3-pointers. He makes the second, and back to a 13-point advantage.
Well, unless something spectacular happens now, then Vorontsevich is my man of the game.
Yeah, I think without question he has really sparked Russia when they needed it. Oh, nice pass inside to Fitchett and draws the foul on Vorontsevich. Now that's interesting. That's 4 on him. I think he got just a little bit of body from behind. So 4 fouls. Now, if he were to exit the game, I do think that would be a bad development because Russia's level will drop if he comes out. And he is going to come out and sit down. All black fans hoping, praying. Fitchett at the line. Makes the first. Hoping and praying. 27 years old, Mike Fitchett. Not going to get much bigger games than this for him.
It's back to an 11-point game. And an age to go, 6.5.
Over to Ponkrashov, Russia in no rush. Bikov, 10, now here comes the offense. Ponkrashov looks down low. They look for Ponkrashov into the lane, hands it off to Mozgov, and sure enough, and nobody stands inside, nobody blocks him.
And Mozgov wanted the foul as well.
Kurt Penny, closely guarded. They are on him like a blanket. Bradshaw, oh, nice find, but Penny doesn't have, they might have a 3-second, no. Great block from Mozgov. What can you say? Terrific effort. Abercrombie, somebody needs to spark New Zealand. 13-point deficit. Fritzen into the lane. Ponkrashov for 3, off the rim, and Pero, instead of trying to go for it, just boxed out Mozgov, kept him off the glass. Pero Cameron for 3. He's had so many games where he's buried those 3 balls, but it just hasn't happened tonight for Pero Cameron.
Yeah, and he knows it. Perhaps age creaking up on him.
Well, 1 of 5 from 3-point range tonight. Ponkrashov drives in, hands it off to guess who? Mozgov. And they just can't stop the big fella.
You got to hand it to David Blatt. He's done a great job with this young kid, Timothy Mozgov. Kept him on the bench for a long time. And when New Zealand are in foul trouble, goes inside.
Well, they've called a timeout. One last-ditch timeout to try to stop the bleeding. Ponkrashov again. Mozgov rolls to the basket and a chance for a 3-point play.
I think that young lady enjoyed that.
Look for the steals, switching on balls, okay, looking for double teams. Right? Oh, but on opportunity, we don't have to do it, you know, just anywhere, right? Anywhere the ball is down here or down here, we look to
well, the rebounding has really been the difference for Russia. 38 to 23 now, they lead it. 3-point shooting fairly similar there, but the size advantage of Russia has just been too much for New Zealand to overcome.
Well, Jeff, we've had 3 blowouts in a row, and at the moment, 15 points has the air of a blowout about it, but I tell you what, it's been a great game. All credit to both teams. Defense has ruled. To give a good team like New Zealand down to 47 points is testament to the ability of David Blatt to coach defense. And Russia, they've only scored 62. Great effort from the Tall Blacks.
Kurt Penny's really had his struggles today. He's got 13 points, but none of those have come easy. Every time he gets the ball, he's got somebody on him.
I think all his points this second half have come from the line. 8 points at halftime. No field goals as yet in the second half.
Mozgov converts the 3-point play, and it's back to a 16-point lead for Russia, their biggest of the game. Lindsay Tate in for Mike Fitchett. Picks up his dribble, hands it off to Penny. And Penny, no good, and Russia chased down the ball. No, Lindsay Tate gets involved. Ball goes out of bounds, and they're going to give it to New Zealand. I wonder if they would have given that to Russia if Ponkarshoff hadn't hurried over there so quickly. New shot clock, 24 seconds. Time is definitely the enemy. And Kirk Penny finally scores a field goal. He's up to 15 points, and it's a 14-point deficit. You wonder if New Zealand could do some type of press. Sergei Monia. Now to Ponkarshoff, 10 on the shot clock. They know they're going to penetrate and try to give it to Mozgov if recent history means anything. And instead, Ponkarshoff takes the shot, and Fritzen comes in, almost comes up with a steal.
Yeah, an option for New Zealand. It's still just under 4 to go. If they foul, they're in the penalty, but who do they foul? Do they try and exchange baskets?
Oh, they find,
Penny inside again.
Bad foul to give away from Fritzen. Put Penny on the line, you stop the clock. And 3 fouls now, Vitaly Fritzen. Watch this, good penetration. And Sergei Bykov is coming out of the game.
I'll tell you what, Jeff, not too much effort to get the ball there from Fritzen. Just grab Penny's arm.
Unbelievable. If you're a Tall Blacks fan and you see that free throw stay out, you just think, unbelievable.
The thing is, he's had a man in his boots every time he's been anywhere on the floor, and the effort, the physical effort now for Kirk Penny, he's a tired player now.
Well, good full court defense there, but Russia finally break it. They almost contained them. Almost had the 5-second call.
That's a heartbreaker when you play tough defense and then allow an easy layup. 15 points the margin now.
Penny penetrates and gets a chance for a 3-point play. And Timothy Mozgov beside himself.
Big question is, what would this game have been like had Kirk Penny not picked up 3 offensive fouls?
Well, once again, there was some body there. Some guys just know how to score points, though, don't they? I mean, Penny's had a rough game, but he's got 17 points. 18 points now. Make it 19. Ponkarshoff over to
Oh, that's a backcourt. That was a backcourt violation.
I'm not sure he came all the way over. If he did, the referees didn't see it. Kutsov. New Zealand fall back in the zone. 12-point game now. Coming up on the 3-minute mark. Fritzen, he can shoot. And back out to Sergei Monia. 3 on the shot clock. He's going to have to put it up.
Oh!
And they've called the foul on Phil Jones.
Phil Jones.
He was getting ready just to put up a prayer, and the foul bails him out.
And it's a 3-shot foul.
Unbelievable. Watch this. Here it is. Phil Jones guarding.
Yeah, got his elbow.
It's a tough call.
Well, as far as refereeing is concerned, one of the golden rules as far as I'm concerned is you've got to protect the shooter. It's the #1 skill in the game. That's what the referee did there.
Makes the second one. Back to a 14-point advantage.
I remember not so long ago, New Zealand trailed by 2.
Makes the third. Penny hurries up the floor. Time is definitely the enemy now. Less than 3 minutes to go. Penny goes in and somehow scores. And boy, he is really just trying desperately to get something to keep him in an offensive foul.
Mozgov.
Mozgov. And David Blatt doesn't like the call from the French referee. He calls it timeout. Trying to set the screen. Here we go. Well, he was dead. I think it's a good call because he's moving, kind of a moving screen, isn't he?
He is, but you see it all the time, and he's very, very rarely called. And David Blatt again.
Well, I mean, he was moving, but then he kind of threw his arms into him, and maybe that's what the referee saw. I don't know.
"13 points the lead for Russia, 2:47.
And the free throws, I don't think Russia are particularly bad free throw shooting team, so they're well in command. It's their game to win right now.
Great talk. So in this area or this area, we're going to trap that.
I guess if you're New Zealand, you could possibly put in Fitchett and Tate at the same time with Penny. But the only problem is on the defensive end, then you're going to be exposed for lack of size. They could post up potentially Fitchett. So it's just tough having lost to Kona.
The New Zealand fans still believe. Well, one of them does anyway.
Well, this type of deficit has been overcome in the past many times in the game of basketball in this space of time. However, it doesn't happen often. Penny. Bradshaw sets him a screen. Pick. Penny goes in. And over to Lindsay Tate. Tate knifes his way in, and foul called. And Russia want the charge. Russia want the ball. See what David Chambon has called, because there seems to be some confusion.
Referee's undecided. Oh, somehow Russia get possession from that.
So there's, I mean, the scorekeeper doesn't know what the call was, and I certainly don't. So traveling. They called traveling on Lindsay Tate. Pongrashov. Kutsif. Moskov looming at the free throw line. Russia in no rush with the big lead. Pongrashov into the corner. 6 on the shot clock now. Kutsif. He maybe doesn't realize it. Pongrashov for 3. Had his foot inside.
1 second on the shot clock then.
Executed to perfection. I just think New Zealand now running out of time. And Kurt Penny goes in, and it could be the end of the New Zealand challenge. Brave, but in the end, not enough against a Russian team that has proved just very strong, physical, tall inside. And Voroncevich hits the 3. And I think back at the hotel tonight, the Russians are going to eat well, knowing they've given it their best. And they've also sent the United States a message.
And they're going to have some more of that red meat that David Blatt feeds them on, I think.
Well, they've sent them a message. You better come ready to play with your A game, because we're going to leave everything on the floor.
Voroncevich, I think he's gone. Disappointed look on his face, but he's had a great game.
He has had a great game. Voroncevich, 18 points, 11 rebounds, 2 steals, and 2 block shots. And good call as well. But if he can play like that against the United States, and the defense can play as well as they played tonight against New Zealand, you have to think that Russia at least have a chance against this American team.
That's going to be a great matchup. Voroncevich, Chauncey Billups perhaps.
I think I would see probably Voroncevich more on one of the front court players, maybe the small forward. The turnover to Abercrombie, New Zealand, and Abercrombie over to Phil Jones. Back out to Abercrombie, puts up a 3, and the ball goes over to Russia. Inside the final minute. No Andrei Kirilenko, no Victor Kriapa tonight, no J.R. Holden. But what Russia isn't missing, they're not missing heart. They've got plenty of that, because they have held off a brave challenge by New Zealand as Punkershaw hits the three-pointer.
That is so cruel. It's not a 20-point game, but that's what the score says, I'm afraid. 76-56. Great effort from New Zealand. They don't deserve to lose by 20, but it may even be more.
And up ahead it goes to Moskov, who's going to get a little dunk action before the night ends. And the Tall Blacks trailing now by 22 points. Their FIBA World Championship ends. We've seen enough from them to know that there's more coming from the Tall Blacks in the future. The teams shake hands. David Blatt did a great job scouting. I'll tell you what, Russia, they should pull out all stops to keep this guy as their coach because they're not going to find a better one. Russia into the quarterfinals. They win it 78-56. Russia against the United States. How mouth-watering is that?
Well, for you defense-minded people, you've just seen a fantastic example of how to play that aspect of the game to restrict a very, very good New Zealand team to 56 points. That is some effort. Kiwis looking very disappointed. They've given their all, but they've come up against a defensive brick wall designed by David Blatt.
Well, Kurt Penny ended up leading all scorers tonight with 21 points. It didn't come easy for him, scoring most of those in the fourth quarter. But the rebounds was a problem, as you might expect, because the Russians are just big and strong, and they took care of business on the boards. 7 steals, 5 block shots. Never stopped playing defense tonight.
And out-rebounded New Zealand 41-25. Voroncevic, look at that, double-double, 18 points, 11 rebounds, and terrific defense to go with those stats.
34 of those Russian points coming in the paint. Moskov was very difficult to contain. He ended up with 16 points and had 7 of those rebounds.
Most of those points come in the second half when he was reintroduced into the game on 2 fouls. And New Zealand just couldn't handle him.
Well, the last time the United States and Russia met at the FIBA World Championship semifinals, 1998. An amazing late comeback by Russia. Sergei Panov dribbling the length of the floor and scoring to shock Rudy Tomjanovic's team. It's been a long time in the waiting. 12 years later, they're going to meet again.
Yeah, 1994 as well in Toronto. USA absolutely pulverized Russia. 73 points in the first half. But this is not a dream team here.
Well, you've been watching the FIBA World Championship 8 finals from Istanbul. One more time, Russia winning at 78-56. Earlier tonight, the United States winning their game handily against Angola. It's Angola and Russia in the quarterfinals. Thanks for watching.